Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Strategist Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. And just like that, I'm back like I never left with another amazing episode of the Her Voice Shines podcast. Guys, let me tell you, these guests, they just keep getting better and better. And you know, I love to be in this place because we've been having the real conversations that just feel so natural. And these guests do just what the podcast says. They let their voice shine. But you already know I'm your fabulous host, Strategist Washington, streaming from the beautiful city of Houston, Texas. And just like we always do, we're going to do our normal drill. Our beautiful guest comes to the stage, tells us her name, where she's streaming from, and boom, we get that story. And without any further waiting time, here's my fabulous guest for today.
Hi, Shanadra. Thank you so much for having me here on Her Voice Shines podcast. My name is Randall Ray. I am streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a business strategist and empowerment coach for current and aspiring female entrepreneurs. So my journey, my background has been quite a roller coaster, but the most pivotal thing happened in my life almost exactly a year ago. By the time this airs, it will probably be a year that's passed. On September 14th, 2023, my dog that meant more to me than anything in the entire world became very sick with an aggressive cancer and eventually passed on October 20th. I start with saying that because I truly believe that it's always sometimes the worst things that have to happen in life that bring you out of that dark place and into the absolute best place you can ever find yourself. And that is my story. I had been in corporate America for 6 years, serial entrepreneur my entire life. I started my first business when I was 25, having absolutely no idea what I was doing. So I have many lessons learned and that I love sharing with others. That business was actually inspired by my dog. And I always knew I was meant for more. I always knew there was more I could be doing. And I knew deep down I wasn't truly fulfilled. And as a now elder millennial, I knew I could not spend the next potentially 30 years in a cubicle or corporate setting. That was not meant to be my life. And that was proven on September 14th when my dog became sick and I went to take him to what I had hoped would be a routine vet appointment. And I thought I would be back home for a 4:00 meeting. And sure enough, that ended up not being the case. And it was a pivotal moment for me because I was not very supported by the team that I was on at the time. I think we can all, unfortunately, probably relate to not having quality leaders in certain, roles in our lives. And I wasn't given any flexibility, no leeway to work from home while he was recovering. So I ended up taking a leave of absence. I was subsequently then laid off in January and ultimately made the decision to not go back. And that is the best decision I have ever made for myself. And while the last year has been filled with so many challenges and ups and downs, I woke up this morning just so thankful for every little thing in my life, from a slow morning, rolling out of bed, putting on sweats, making a cup of coffee, to being able to get ready, looking professional on top, but still being comfortable in my leggings below, taking a walk, getting my steps in, going to the gym, being here as a guest today, meeting with clients later on. I couldn't feel more fulfilled. And that is what I want for every other woman that is in a similar space or peace of mind, or isn't happy with their current job or their current life even. So as a business strategist and empowerment coach, I focus on helping women in 3 key areas. I focus on helping them start their business. If they have a business idea that they've never gotten up and off the ground, that's what I'm here for. I focus on helping them create additional streams of income, including but also outside of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Making money absolutely is. And women deserve to be empowered by finances and not feel ashamed to talk about them or ask for them. And last but certainly not least, I was in strategy in my corporate life. That's always where I've thrived. And so I help women with their current businesses strategize for growth.
I love it. And I told Randall before I came, I was like, Randall, just for the remainder of this episode, you're Randall Ray, because I feel like the name has to come together as one. It's just one to me. Randall Ray, such a beautiful, beautiful name. I love it. You know, in that first segment, what I got, Randall, that really stood out was you saying that sometimes when things get really bad or those worst feelings are really sometimes the catalyst, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get us out of the rut to the next thing. Very much, I feel like my story, we tapped on that just a little bit, but from a perspective, because this is kind of that make or break thing for many women, a lot of time when that rut comes or that really, really hard thing comes, sometimes it signals them to stop.
Mm-hmm.
It signals them to stay in place. And part of this podcast and us talking about these things is really to help eradicate that. Yeah. So talk to us from the perspective of you feeling, and definitely my condolences. Sorry about your dog and everything that you had to go through, in addition to being in an unsupportive team. I've been there. Tell me about, how did you start to kind of move past?
Excuse me. Speaking of dogs, I am a pet sitter as well, so pardon the barking.
No, you're fine. Tell me about taking that next step. So once you were in the rut, right, and now you're in deep grief, you have an unsupportive team. What was the signal? When was that aha moment? When was the enlightened moment to say Randall Ray has to move on?
Mm-hmm. Boy, it was really a combination of things. And I also have to acknowledge the privilege that I had at the time to be able to take a medical leave of absence for mental health. You know, that was very real. I was very much depressed with dealing with the anticipatory grief of losing my soul dog. But I knew deep down that, you know, had that not been an option for me, nothing to me in life was more important than he was. Nothing was going to prevent me from spending his last couple of weeks, days with him. So if I would have had to have made the choice to have left in that moment, I was prepared to do so. And, you know, as I mentioned, I've been a serial entrepreneur. So I've had these side businesses always. I already had them up and running to subsidize my income if needed. It's not matching my corporate salary, but, you know, could get me by. So I was prepared to make that choice. Of course, after he passed, I just grieved and mourned and thought about what was next for me, what that looks like. I was trying to interview, I was trying to apply, I was trying different things. And, you know, the universe always has a plan. I wasn't getting jobs. I wasn't getting placed with different teams, because that's not what I was meant to do. Deep down, I knew I couldn't ask other people for basic human decency and kindness for the rest of my life. I wasn't going to go back to asking for permission to grieve or take care of a dog that was family to me. So when I was laid off, it was just the universe saying, I'm putting this here for you. You've been wanting to leave. You never wanted to go back. Here you go. Don't go back. Go, do, be, thrive. You've survived. Now it's time to thrive.
Oh, I'm telling you, I had to get out of the survival mode, Randall Ray. I had to, and really, really step to thriving. I think sometimes people confuse thriving with material things, and she has this. No, thriving, literally my soul was set free. And I say this very clearly, that was thriving for me. It was that being able to show up as exactly who I am, do it the way I need to do, not have to shrink down, not have to play these politics, all these games. That is what thriving started to mean to me.
Yes. I think everybody thinks that as you go on this journey, you're supposed to start booking trips and showing cars and, things that most people view as winning and succeeding. And that's not the case at all. To me, I've made significant financial cuts since being on this journey. To me, the thriving part is a quality night's sleep without stressing about my alarm clock going off in the morning, just waking up with peace and joy and doing things that fill my cup. That's thriving.
That is thriving. And I love that you say that. Yeah, because the same thing, of course, finances has changed for me too throughout this journey. But it was still this level of freedom, that I had, that I could, you couldn't even give me a dollar amount really to express what that feeling feels to me. And I still say that every day, especially as life turns or whatever, I can care and, take my grandparents to doctor's appointments. I can do all these things, but I have to consistently put in time. It is those little things that in the moments, even when it gets hard, I found a place of gratefulness. And I'm so thankful that it had to get that bad. People say, well, why would you thank, why are you thanking God for how bad it got? I'm like, because if it hadn't got that bad, I wouldn't have been this free.
Yes, that is so true.
I thank him so much for that place. Now, Randall, I want to go here. Now, after you left the corporate space, you'd already been doing, a bunch of different things in entrepreneurship for a long time, variety of business. How did you land with the empowerment space? Because we know you've had a dog business. Where did that come from after having such a long kind of journey with being an entrepreneur?
Yes, no, I love that. And truly the clarity came in January when I was laid off. I had already, for about a year, give or take, I had a life coaching business. And I don't say that with quotations to belittle life coaches at all. I've had them, I've used them, I love them. I was calling myself a life coach. And when they say, if you're trying to talk to everybody, you're talking to nobody. And that's exactly where I was in my coaching business at the time. I was saying I wanted to help and empower women. And I was just sort of taking clients as they came with whatever they were, dealing with at the time. But I wasn't clear in my message. I wasn't clear with the purpose of my business. And it was in the moment that I was laid off and experiencing that turmoil, and I became focused. I unintentionally just started speaking, to other burnt out millennial women professionals that wanted more in life, other people that had been laid off and didn't know what else to do, other people that were just fearful of layoffs because corporate America can quit you tomorrow. A side business, your own business, whatever it is insurance for when they do that. So that just sort of became a natural topic for me as I was navigating that journey. And it is one of those things when you start speaking, Instagram was my platform. And when you start speaking to the right person, they start coming to you. And so that's when, everything just sort of came together, and I pivoted as a business coach and rebranded as a business strategist and empowerment coach. I keep the empowerment piece because we all have good ideas. I am a firm believer that there is not a person on this planet that doesn't have a skill, a service, a product idea, something that a passion that they can pivot into a profitable business venture. Now it's whether or not they choose to do that. I can give you all the tools you need to succeed and tell you all the things I've learned and the steps to take, but you have to be empowered to take those steps and stick to it, because you and I both know that entrepreneurship is not easy. It is a lot of lows before there are sometimes any highs. It's inconsistent, it's uncertain, it's scary, it's lonely. So that is where I will coach women on the strategic piece of how to start their business, but bring in the life coaching and empower them to do it as well.
Oh, there was a lot of good things in that segment. I really love the piece that you said about the business or the side business being that insurance plan in case corporate quits you, because they can definitely do that at any time. And I say, they talk about us in the, entrepreneurial world, but I'm like, it's not sure over there either. You can go in tomorrow and your stuff be boxed up. So having that, and you said that was an insurance plan, I jotted that down because that's a good little nugget that a lot of people need to hear, even if they are, working a big time job or have a solid career.
Right.
It's just not guaranteed. And the other part I really like in this segment is this whole idea of talking to everyone, but not talking to anyone. And a lot of entrepreneurs go through that, especially in the early stages when they have not tailored down their marketing strategy, have not tailored down their target audience. It can get a little bit tricky and dicey. As I've said, I've been in the space now since, I left in 2021, my corporate job. I just started really taking footsteps in this thing really to 2022, I would say. I had a year in between that kind of allowed me the clarity that I needed. And most women never get that. So I am very thankful for that space for me to kind of try to figure it out, soak up knowledge and do all of those things. But the last thing I want to say about this, Randall Ray, I tell my clients, I can give you everything. I'm going to be a good coach. I'm going to be a good mentor. I'm going to find the resources. But guess what? I can't do your work. I can't do that work. I was never put in this place and space to do your work. And that was at the beginning of the conversation, right? Because so many people, they will sometimes raise their hand for the coaching, raise their hand for the training, the workshops, and all these different things, and do nothing with it. So if you are in a space right now where you are considering coaching or need empowerment coaching, maybe it's something that Randall Ray offers that you need, I want to tell you, for her and for me, we are not called to do your work.
Exactly. It has to come from you.
It has to come from you. We were not designed to do that. Go ahead.
But it's taking that first step and reaching out and saying, I know I'm meant for more, and I just need a little bit of help, a little bit of guidance, a little bit of coaching, some consulting to help me get there, because we all need that in every aspect of our life. As a coach, I have a coach. You're sick, you go to the doctor, plumbing goes out, you hire a plumber. We all need that expert resource to help guide us along.
Absolutely. And the power of coaching, which is also too why this platform exists. I want more women to know about it, because some women say, oh, why the investment? And I tell people all the time, I'm in a place in my life where having a coach is mandatory for me. Having a coach is mandatory for my next. It's not something that I'm going to skip on. I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to ensure that I'm doing the things, number one, to shore myself up, and also to gain some strategy and insights to help shore my business up. And that's just a part of my life until I leave this space. So the power of coaching, I can't say enough how important it is and how much you should consider getting a guide, really, especially like Randall Ray says, if you know you're destined to do much more, and many of you are.
So many people are.
Absolutely. Now, let's go here. Of course, I've checked out everything you sent. I have to look around and dig. And one of the things you said, I dealt with deep-rooted feelings of not feeling worthy or good enough.
Yeah.
And it's come up several times throughout this podcast. And each and every time it is mentioned, I call it out and I give it a space. Because that's what we have to do. Tell me about your walk there, because many women that I know deal with this, deal with the not feeling worthy enough, deal with, I'm not the right one, the imposter syndrome, all the things that go in with that. Tell us about your walk with it and what are you doing, because it'll still try to creep in. I'm just saying this, it'll still creep in. Tell us what you're doing in your walk, what you did to kind of overcome that. And what are you doing to work to continue to make sure that you're operating in the place of self-worthiness?
There's so much to talk about there. And I know, like you said, everybody can relate to that. I think first and foremost, it's understanding where those feelings of unworthiness come from. Are they stemming from comparison syndrome because you're looking at somebody that's been doing what you want to do for the last 5 years and you think they can never get there? Are they stemming from, deeper rooted issues, maybe an unsupportive family member, spouse, friend that's been putting negative thoughts, feelings into your head. And so you hear that negative voice, really, really getting to the root of why you feel that way. Because I said it earlier, there isn't anyone that isn't, I say this to clients, you're not so special that everybody can do it but you. You're not so special that they all have what it takes to succeed and you don't. You have the ability. You just have to believe in yourself. And then you have to, like I said, acknowledge, and this is where, therapy and coaching can come into like, well, why do we feel that way? And then also lean on the support systems you do have and the encouraging people that are in your life, whether that's a coach, whether it's a friend, whether it's, a peer, a mentor, whatever it is, lean on them. It's okay to, what I've done is create a little folder in your phone, when somebody says something nice about you, or you get a good review at work, or something, empowering happens in your life, to remind you of those things when you're in those I'm not good enough, I'm unworthy moments, because they're still going to creep up. We can do all the work and we're only human. Like they're going to creep up at different times. And shoot, there was one more thing I wanted to say and I am blanking. Oh, yes. Last thing is, if you are not celebrating yourself, don't expect other people to celebrate you. That is a lesson that I had to learn both in personal and business. And as soon as I started shouting out my wins and my successes and what I was proud of, even if it's as simple as like posting, it's my birthday, people are going to feed off that energy and they're going to give it right back to you. But don't expect to be sitting, on the sidelines or doing things in the background and not announcing it. And for people to just know, you have to celebrate yourself for them to celebrate you.
Oh, I love it. You giving great nuggets, Randall Ray. I love
Thank you.
You really are. I think that first part of knowing where those feelings come from is so huge, because sometimes if you don't get to the root of it, it'll pour out everywhere. The self-worth inside your household, out in the workplace, in your business. So it's so important to kind of like nip it at the bud to get to the root. So thanks for sharing that. And also too, celebrating yourself, and a lot what I do in this visibility space is teaching women, go out there and do the thing, because you're right. Nobody's going to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, "Ooh, you're great, you're amazing." You have to take the steps to say, number one, I'm great and amazing, and here's why, and putting the stuff out there and living that in that kind of mantra for not only yourself, but for your business as well, because you have to be empowered enough to say, I'm going to stand in this, I'm going to be visible, I'm going to celebrate myself, my wins matter, because just like Randall said, nobody's going to just do that for you, and you shouldn't expect them to, right? So you, of course, own that. I like something else you said in the information that you sent into us. You said the power of sometimes networking with your competitors, because sometimes there's this big misnomer sometimes about, oh, you shouldn't talk to your competitors and this and that. Tell us about the power of networking, and then talk about specifically that power in networking with people who you see as a competitor.
Absolutely. Networking is huge in every single aspect of our life. I mean, where I am today, you and I sitting right here, it was all from being in a networking group. Somebody shared this, and then back to what we were just discussing. I'm like, I feel like I'm worthy of this opportunity. I'm going to submit myself, to your point. You didn't come and tap me on the shoulder and ask me to be here, and yet we're killing it. But back to networking. I think so many people view networking as a way to make a connection for a reason, for a sale, for a client, for a referral, whatever. Just build a genuine connection and the rest will follow. Just, go up to somebody. Just recently, a girl posted or commented on my post something in a networking Facebook group. She was a fellow entrepreneur. So I just sent her a Facebook friend request and I just said, hey, love connecting with other full-time entrepreneurs, period. She was like, yeah, of course, happy to connect. Then she ended up inviting me to a soft opening she was having of her new business. Then she invited me to the hard opening. And then lo and behold, I will be a speaker in her event space in a couple of weeks. I was never reaching out to her for anything. I just looked at her, saw her as a, fellow businesswoman, a peer, a mentor, whatever, and just made that connection. And it turned into something incredibly valuable. So I'd say just go into it trying to make genuine connections and not trying to get something back out of it. And then in terms of networking with your competition, so many people, like I said, look and see that someone's already doing something, so they shouldn't do it too, or, whatever. And every single one of us is so unique. There are many other business coaches out there, but they're not me. And, I'm going to be right for some people and I'm not going to be right for a lot of people. And that's perfectly okay. And it's a wonderful world we live in to be able to have all of these choices. When it comes to networking with your competitors, I say that because first, don't let there being competition keep you from taking that leap and starting that business, but also connect with the competition. My very first business was, surprise, dog related. And there were two other women doing similar but not equal things. I reached out to both of them. One of them immediately shot me down, said she wanted nothing to do with me because I was her competition. We continued to butt heads throughout the very small industry that we were in. And the other one and I went out for dinner, had drinks, became good friends, and made referrals for each other all the time. And then lo and behold, she ended up closing her business. And who do you think she referred everybody to? Me. And then when I eventually closed that business, I would have loved to have been able to refer them to somebody else, but there was nobody else in the industry that hadn't already not wanted to connect with me. So competition isn't your competitor in a negative way. It can be a wonderful and empowering connection.
Oh, I absolutely love it. And the interesting thing is that I'm learning here within the last, I would say 3 weeks to a month. I've had competitors actually reach out to me to partner on some larger projects. So I want to just make sure that people get that, because we always think, it has to be this doggy world, we have to do all these different things and tear the next man down. You don't have to do that. Like, if you really look at this world from a lens of abundance, you'll know that you never have to fight. Because if you are in tune to get what's in this earth for you, you will get it. It's not assigned to anybody else. So that's what knocks out that competitive headspace for me. And I have made, within the time of recording this podcast, and specifically in this last month alone, some of the most powerful connections. And that was taking away the competition. I've never had a competitive kind of spirit anyway, but I always stress the power of networking and partnership. So thank you for sharing that. Now, we cannot leave here with getting more details about the service, the empowerment coaching. We want to know about how this program runs, what it's about, and then also give us the best contact details to keep in touch with Randall Ray, whether that's social or website, whatever you want to share here.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a business strategist and empowerment coach. I specialize in 3 areas: helping women start their business, create additional streams of income, and strategize for growth in their current business. So I offer one-on-one coaching. It is not a program. It is completely tailored to you and your needs. The best way to connect with me is I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also at the Randall Ray on Instagram. And I feel like you asked me something else and I forgot what it was.
No, you did good. We just wanted to know about
okay.
All this, and then also to where to contact you. So you gave the website and then your Instagram. Did you and LinkedIn too, right? You said it's Randall Ray on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Randall Ray on LinkedIn. at the Randall Ray on Instagram is the easiest place to find me. From there, you can book a complimentary consultation.
Okay, I love it. Now, this is the part, Randall Ray, where we cue to you for your final thoughts. And I tell people, this is the part where if they only get this, it gives us a good essence of Randall Ray, and also too serves as some good final parting words for this episode.
Oh, final words. You are absolutely capable, worthy, and deserving of all the success and good things in life. You absolutely have what it takes. If there's something you want and you don't feel like you know how to achieve it, that's where I can come in as a coach and help you get there, because you absolutely can.
I love it. That is claiming back and calling back their worthiness. Randall Ray, thank you. I honor you in this space. I thank you for your fight and helping women, and empowerment is something that is so well needed. And I tell people that when you let your voice shine, transformative things happen. I always say that at the close of the show. And that, of course, I love my guests and everyone here that are listening and tuning in to the Her Voice Shines podcast. I want to thank you for spending this time with Shanadra and Randall Ray. And until next time, we'll be back with another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. Thank you.